All right, gang, for our third and final story of this edition of the Rolling Stone, we go into the world of cycling. We already know, we all know that American sports are honeycombed with wokeness, whether we're talking about the NBA, the NFL, baseball, they're all pretty much lost to us, at least for the present. Well, you know it's bad when wokeness even gets into cycling. Cycling, bicycling, is riding through the countryside and racing other people on their little bicycles. It has affected even that. What's the story? Well, a Dutch journalist tweeted out in a now deleted tweet, "If you follow me and support Trump, you can go." This was Jose Bean, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. Again, she's Dutch, so I know I'm mispronouncing her name. Tweeted out. Then Quinn Simmons, who The Hill described as the reigning junior road race world champion and the junior U.S. road race champion, responded to Bean's tweet by simply saying bye, and he also added a black hand-waving emoji. Make note of that, okay? Quinn is white. He used a black hand-waving emoji that's going to be noteworthy here in just a moment. In a subsequent reply, again, according to The Hill, another Twitter user suggested Simmons supported Trump. That's right, Simmons wrote alongside an American flag emoji. Simmons is 19 years old, by the by. And for that, Simmons is now suspended by Trek Segafredo, the organization that he raced with. This is actually, I want to read to you, gang, the statement that Trek Segafredo released after it was announced that Simmons had been suspended. This is what they said. Trek Segafredo is an organization that values inclusivity and supports a more diverse and equitable sport for all athletes. While we support the right to free speech, we will hold people accountable for their words and actions. Regrettably, team writer Quinn Simmons made statements online that we feel are diverse, incendiary, and detrimental to the team, professional cycling, its fans, and the positive future we hope to help create for the sport. In response, he will not be racing for Trek Segafredo until further notice. So there we have it. It's the old double standard lie. We support more diversity and more inclusiveness for everyone involved except for you, you bigot. And that's exactly what Trek Segafredo said, because in another response, Trek Segafredo tweeted out, "Racism is unacceptable, period." So for the mere fact of saying that he supports Trump, for having a political opinion that Quinn Simmons made on his own Twitter account on his own time, he is now suspended. That's where we are now. But it gets even better, gang, because according to the UK Daily Mail, I told you to remember that he used a black hand-waving emoji. Get this. Joe Papp, an anti-doping advocate and author, accused Simmons of engaging in internet blackface for his using a dark-skinned hand emoji on Twitter. There you go. To quote Mark Stein, is Joe Papp out of his Biden-sized mind? If this is the same Joe Papp who I found online, I mean, Google was trying to tell me that he was a dead American playwright who passed away in 1991. I don't think it was that Joe Papp, but if it's the one that I found, who was born in 1975 and is a professional American road racing cyclist and U.S. national cycling team member, author, and convicted doper and drug distributor, which would mean that he is now anti-doping. Guess what Joe Papp is? Just take a wild guess. He's white. Joe Papp is white. I'm looking at his picture right now. Go to Wikipedia and type in Joseph M. Papp, okay? I'll save you the trouble. Here he is. See that? That is Joe Papp. Kind of white, isn't he? So we have one white man telling another white man that because he used the wrong emoji, he is actually engaging in internet blackface. Now, I don't know about you, but under critical race theory, wouldn't what Joe Papp just did, wouldn't that count as white supremacy, as an example of white privilege, because he gets to decide what is blackface and what isn't? I mean, he's not black. He doesn't have the black experience. He hasn't been oppressed. He hasn't suffered for being black. Everything, doors have been opened for him that he didn't even know would be closed to other people simply because of the color of their skin. So how is he to know that this is internet blackface? By the logic of critical race theory, Joe Papp is just as much a racist as Quinn Simmons for saying that Quinn Simmons is a racist. And if I could just take a moment, gang, to really kind of dive into this idea of internet blackface, which is ludicrous in the extreme. Because blackface came from the old minstrel shows, as we know, from the 19th century. And in fact, faces were part of minstrelsy. Did you know, for example, that black performers did whiteface, where they made stereotypical fun of, for example, the Irish? Yeah, it really, really happened. Dooley Wilson, who is most famously today known for his role as Sam in Casablanca, that's how he got his start in show business. In black minstrel shows, doing whiteface, where they made fun of the Irish, okay? But the idea, that's what blackface was. That's what whiteface was. It was from minstrel shows. The idea that using the wrong colored emoji in a tweet is equivalent to internet black race, I mean, not only is ludicrous, which it is, but it also downplays blackface. Think about all the outrage that has happened when people like Justin Trudeau and Governor Northam in California, when pictures of them have surfaced in blackface. Think of all the anger that was directed at them. And now, think that, wait, that has just been equivocated with someone using the wrong emoji. An emoji in a single tweet. Think about that. And what's more, what makes this even more ridiculous, is that Quinn Simmons, in his Twitter profile, he doesn't try to hide the fact that he's white. He's got his own picture as his profile pic. You go to his Twitter profile, or probably, I would guess, any of his social media accounts, and you can see that he's a white man. He's as white as Joe Papp. So how is this blackface? How is this actually the appropriation of black culture? That's the actual real question here. How is using a black hand-waving emoji, how is that the appropriation of black culture? Because if we're really going to go down that road, then aren't Apple and Android more guilty because they allow white people to use those emojis, because they don't lock white people from using those emojis when people form new accounts or buy new phones? So shouldn't Apple and Android be accused of enabling internet blackface? If this is the road that we're really, really, really going to go down. Now, everything that I've said, you know this and I know this, gang, is absolutely ludicrous, as I said at the beginning. But there's a point to this, because what Joe Papp is doing, Joe Papp, I don't know anything about him. I don't really follow sports, and I follow cycling the least of all. But I would guess that Joe Papp knows that this is not internet blackface. What Joe Papp is doing is making an opportunity for himself. He's an anti-doping advocate now. He's also an author. In our time, what's better for an author than to come down clearly on the side of the woke, to be on the right side of history. And to equivocate something with blackface, and then to come out strongly against that to show that you are virtuous, you are good, you are on the right side, you are an ally, you are awake, you understand the struggle and what's really, really going on in our society. That's what's happening. But gang, that's what's happening all over. This equivocation is happening all over. It's a demonstration of power, and it's an attempt to gain power. Now, what all of this leads up to is to say that 1984 is here. We don't have to say that we have to be careful because we're going to become 1984, or 1984 was never closer to actually being a realization. It is here now. We're living it. We are living in 1984. When a man uses a black hand waving emoji in one tweet, and he is now being accused of blackface, that is serious doublethink and projecting thought crime going on. And none of us are safe, because if that's all that it takes to be an oppressor, to prove that you are an oppressor, think about all the things that you've said online. Think about all the things that you might have said in a conversation. Think about all the things that you're thinking up here. Innocuous, true, reasonable, practical, commonsensical, it doesn't matter. They're all going to be deemed racist, oppressive, and bigoted. And you then will be made the equivalent. You will be made to be the equivalent of the old minstrel performers in the 19th and early 20th century. That is the road that we are down. That is what Quinn Simmons shows, just besides the regular hypocrisy of the left as well. And the fact that wokeness is everywhere. We are living, breathing, drinking it every single day. So, cheers. And on that happy note, I am wrapping it up, gang. So, have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay free, and I will chat at you all later. Ciao.